Hey, this is Linda. I am originally from the US, but have been living in China since 2016. I worked as an English teacher in Japan for about 4 to 5 years now, before I figured out a better opportunity in China. My TEFL certification from American Association of EFL not only helped me get a good opportunity in Japan, but also in China. Not only it helped in clearing visa requirements, but also boosted my profile to work with top Chinese companies as a premium English teacher. Cheers!
Our objectives for this module include the following. Students will be able to develop the intellectual, personal, and professional abilities, acquire basic language skills, acquire the linguistic competence required in various life situations, acquire the linguistic competence required in different professions, develop their awareness of the importance of English as a means of international communication, develop a positive attitude towards learning English, acquire the linguistic bases that enable them to participate in transferring the scientific and technological advances of other nations to their nation, benefit from English-speaking nations in order to enhance the concepts of international cooperation that develops understanding and respect of cultural difference among nations. Let's talk about English teaching. So why is teaching English important? Why is English important for the international audiences? Well, it's actually a global language. It's become a full-fledged professional and academic field, people studying what English is all about, the history, its development. There have been various interpretations of this language worldwide. It's the need of the hour. Many people are demanding it. Importance of learning a foreign language. The earlier the onset of foreign language learning, FLL, the greater the chances for language proficiency. Native-like pronunciation, improved overall school performance and superior problem-solving skills, enhancement of knowledge of native language, and development of lifelong ability to communicate with more people, better understanding of other cultures, competitive advantage in the workforce by opening up additional job opportunities. So basically, the better you speak English, the more opportunities there are available to you, and you'll have more people to communicate with, you have more cultures that you can understand, and more opportunities specifically with your career. So teaching English as a foreign language, or TEFL, or TEFL. So we kind of organize the native population of English speakers as the inner circle, outer circle, and expanding circle. And there are many people out there who don't know how to connect with English as a language. So in the inner circle, we have all the native speakers, USA, UK, Canada, Ireland, Australia, etc. And then we have the outer circle where there's a strong influence of English. Malaysia, Kenya, Singapore, India, these tend to be former colonies of England or English-speaking countries. And then the outer circle, which include countries like Taiwan, Japan, Korea, Germany, and France, there's no authentic presence of English. So there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of demand for learning English as, for example, in a language of international business, a language of understanding English-speaking cultures, and a language for opportunity in general. All right, variety motivation is a key factor in second language acquisition. In the classroom, motivation can be triggered by particular activities that are related to the age and level of language competence. So at a particular age, they might be motivated more by more interactive experiences, drawing and games and singing, so maybe more the younger ages. And at the older ages, they might be more interested in developing social bonds, connecting with abstract ideas, knowledge, freedom, love, etc., or even music as well, but some old music from older ages. And also the level of language competence. If they're more advanced, then they could probably talk about specific topics. They could talk about the nuances of cultural discourse. Is it appropriate to have end-of-life assisted suicide, for example, which is probably a more serious subject? But if it's a lower level of competence, it's probably you want to talk about more about simple subjects, adopting activities that are within their interests. So maybe they're from a particular culture, maybe they're from China. They might be interested in the Chinese New Year and how to express their interest of it in English. They might be interested in a particular music genre, like maybe rock and roll. They might be interested in certain sports, maybe basketball. They might be interested in volleyball. They might be interested in ping pong, etc. So just talk about particular activities. And anything that they have a strong visual association with, that'll help them actually participate more with their speaking because they have a strong visual and they want to connect with that word more. So they're going to be eager to learn and they're going to be eager to express. So when they're familiar with something like the subject about themselves or something that they're directly exposed to on a daily or regular basis, like family members, friends, school, wherever the environment is that they live. Meaningful tasks, so the tasks that have a purpose. Maybe it connects with a humanitarian effort, maybe the environment, maybe it connects with helping develop awareness around a particular culture or minorities or the workforce, technology, etc., expanding technology to every area in the globe. So you might be talking about these issues. You might be identifying key vocabulary words that are connected with different cultures, Indian or Chinese cultures, or American, South American, etc. Integrating fun, play, and imagination into your teaching program. Anything that evokes joy and interest and is slightly challenging as far as the skill level. If it's too challenging, you're going to be inhibiting motivation. But if it's just slightly more challenging, it'll encourage them to get into a flow state. Well, they'll be very happy and motivated and joyful. Imagination, pictures, props, anything like this is going to actually add a lot of variety. And variety is key. If anything is just one after the other, the brain will not like it. Monotony is the enemy of the brain, and people will get very bored and not interested. And being prepared to act. So taking initiative. If someone makes a suggestion, actually incorporating it into the lesson plan. And keeping the affective filter low. So facial expressions. Connect with body language. Language acquisition and teaching aids. So there's different philosophies as far as the teaching methods. We have the behavioral approach, which is basically monkey see, monkey do. You watch other people, you listen to other people say things, and then you mimic them, you mirror them, you copy them. So watching movies is really popular. English movies with subtitles is a really great way. You can get the translation, you can also watch the actions, the body language, and then also the pronunciation, you can hear it. Then there's the cognitive approach, which is more problem solving. So you give us, maybe for example, give someone a fake word and you have them try and determine what the definition is, or you just give them pictures and try them to describe what the object is, all the nouns, or maybe even to come up with adjectives for a particular scene or a natural scene, a picture of a cottage in the countryside or a city landscape or cityscape, skyscape. And you can talk about antonyms. What's the opposite of large, or what's the opposite of small? What's the opposite of tall? And then have them describe it if they don't know the specific word. So it's sort of a cognitive thinking approach. And the last one is the constructivist approach, which is a little more advanced. This requires higher level competencies with the students. And it's basically when you're creating a familiarity with the language, you're constructing your own figures of speech, your own nicknames, your own metaphors, for example. And you're calling, for example, if you're from Hong Kong, you're teaching English, you can encourage students to come up with a metaphor for the skyline. Like you would call it a forest of glass and metal. So you're developing kind of your own forms of language and colloquialisms. Here are some other methods. This one is through a deductive learning approach. It's an approach to language learning in which you're taught particular rules, and you can infer that logically these rules apply in other categories. So if you are thinking about conjunctions between two sentences, this sentence has to be a full sentence, and you have the word and then another sentence here, it's a full sentence, so there's no need for a comma. So you look for the subject, the verb, and then you look for the conjunction, then you look in the other sentence, there's a subject and a verb, so therefore you need no comma, or etc. So logically you deduce that there's no need for a comma. So you're given a rule, and then you can deduce a larger general statement. So the rule is a general statement, and you can apply it to specific situations. So that's the actual. I'm going to start over with this one. So some other methods for learning acquisition and teaching methodologies is deductive learning. So basically you're given a general rule, and you can apply it to specific situations. So for example, with grammar, you're given the general rule that you need to use a comma or not use a comma in given situations. And you see a certain sentence that you've written, and you analyze the rules, and then you apply the comma or not apply the comma. So another example that's provided here, in the grammar translation method, specific grammar rules are given to learners, and practice subsequently follows to familiarize students with the rule. The features of it are time-saving and suitable for adult learners who can afford abstract thinking. And the opposite of deductive is inductive. And with inductive, you're given a specific situation, and you can infer the general rule. So this is a little more like you're learning on the go. You're listening, and you're developing an understanding. So deductive is more learning-based. You learn the specific rules and apply it to speaking or writing the language. And inductive learning, you're just sort of learning, and then you're inferring specific principles and rules from the general exposure to the language. And which one is right, which one is wrong, which one is right, or which one is better and which one is worse. They both have their attributes, so it's more about a blend between the two approaches. So acquisition versus learning. Acquisition is the processes by which people naturally develop proficiency in a language, and learning is the processes by which people formally develop language proficiency. So this is kind of a little bit like deductive and inductive. And then there's bottom-up processing versus top-down processing. Top-down processing is a way in which humans analyze the process language, analyze and process language as a part of the process of comprehension and learning by making use of previous knowledge, higher-level knowledge, in analyzing and processing information which is received, such as one's expectations, experience, schemata, and reading the text. So you have a broad bubble or a broad data bank of knowledge in your mind, and then you can use those learnings and those principles to apply it to language. So if you've already learned the grammar of your native language, you can kind of apply it in a lot of cases to the grammar of the new language. So you kind of already understand the structure, and you can apply it to the specifics of the new language. Bottom-up processing is a way where you principally a way of making use principally of information which is already present. So such as understanding a text by analyzing the words and sentences in the text itself. So you're starting with the information given, and then you're learning about the general rules. So this is sort of related to deductive and inductive. Some other methods are the computer-assisted language learning, computer-assisted instruction, and something called 3P, which is a traditional classroom teaching procedure. And it's a situational approach to presentation, practice, and production. You can do a Google search on this if you're interested in more of what that is.